and a 1 and a 2 and a check. There we go. Thank you very much. Fixed. I was so worried about just getting the camera working that the audio thing hadn't just rebooted on its own. Very crazy. I got you. Yes. I don't think we can chalk this up to Chip. Hold on. Is this down here? Yeah, it is. Man, it'll be all right. It's just fine. I'm just going to assume that this is the glow of being on a spaceship, and we'll just work with this the best we can. How are you, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hi, chat room. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are here, and in a moment or two, I'm sure, for no particular reason, my my regular lights will come on, and all this will become apparent to everyone involved. But right now, see if it still does it. Yeah. My, oh, it might be thinking. No, it did that last time. Yeah. Apparently, none of my lights are showing up on the... Thanks, bad Wi-Fi. I would curse Cox, but it would just come across as an entirely different thing. Sorry. Okay, let's jump right in, shall we? Oh, God. Is this... Yeah, this is him. Ooh. I got to tell you, you know, we often will talk about if I think my lighting is bad, check this shit out. I feel a lot better about my lighting. I can just stand back here in the overhead light and feel just fine about it. But god damn, that's terrible. Like, is nobody giving a shit? It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like anybody at... yeah, hold on. Let's see if I can. There you go. That's a little better. It's very dramatic, though. I kind of like it. It's very film noir. Yeah, it looks... Yeah, it's just mid-flash, you think? Either way, let's take a look. Hold on one second. Well, he does this little walk-in. Okay. See, that seems normal, but for whatever reason, he stands wherever he chooses. And this is the king of all media, might I add. You know, this is a dude who thinks that he owns, you know, everybody's talking about, like, just how he moves a crowd, no matter how small. And everybody hangs on every word, and he's a cult leader and all this kind of stuff. And he knows how to manipulate the media because they're too stupid to go, wait a minute. You said your name was John Barron? You sound a lot like Donald Trump. Stop fucking around, click. And because it's easy to manipulate a press that's made entirely of, I guess, Play-Doh. So they say all these things about how, you know, he just is a master of these things, when I think he's just been excused a lot. I think he's just been allowed to just get away with rando shit. Okay? So, anyways, here we go. This is him. Well, thank you very much. Now, I think, if I may... Yeah, okay. Ooh.
Mr. Trump, how are you doing on stage?
Oh, goddamn, it's loud.
Do you trust Cohen?
Do you trust Cohen? Of course he doesn't. Cohen turned on him a long time ago. What a silly person. Can I just say, this is not the gait and stride of a man walking into court, head held high, knowing that his attorneys have pled his case and he's been successful. Oh, yes. And before he gets up there, I think it's very important that we warn everybody that staring too long at Trump's nunt is nightmare fuel, and you may never recover. So try looking away as much as you can. Maybe squint and look at his forehead. Somehow that helps draw attention away. Although I think they're blasting his forehead like with too much light so that you don't, so that your eyes are drawn into it like a tractor beam. But, anyways, but legally I have to put this up. So just letting you know. But this is not a guy. Look how far his head. Where did his neck go? I had to sell my jet to a Saudi to pay for my legal bills, as well as my neck. No neck, none whatsoever. Sold my neck. Don't know when I'll get it back. It's on layaway. It's a hawk at a pawn shop. This, again, I gotta tell you, if you know you have an appeal and you still might be found guilty, and you're more than likely, because you're a first-time defendant and blah, 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 you're probably not going to go to jail. More than likely, you are not going to go to jail. I would say, even if you think you're going to lose this fight, stride in with your head held high. Now, granted, I'm saying this being the kind of person who would, A, never do what he did, and B, never hire his shit-ass lawyers. So, obviously, I'm speaking from, a certain perspective that does not align with the reality. But in this particular case, I just think it's good, good generic advice, I would say. Every head turns, except he has no neck.
Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Why are you thanking people? They're not a rally.
No mistake about it.
Make no mistake.
I'm here because of crooked Joe Biden. The worst president in the history of our country is destroying our country. This country is being destroyed rapidly.
Is it being destroyed rapidly? How rapidly? Probably, if I were you, I would stay inside the courthouse then. You know what I mean? Because as zombie apocalypse, fortresses go, it's a pretty good one. I mean, they've got ammo. They've got, trained police officers in there. You still got some structure of government that could survive the apocalypse. I wouldn't leave. Just as a general... Right? Right? Chat room, I gotta say, if the country is being destroyed rapidly, there's very few places you can go with, where you can structurally survive better than, I think, an active courthouse, right? The odd thing is that they have a responsibility to save your life. And they've got the means to do it. As long as you keep the goddamn door shut and you don't let that one asshole who starts panicking make a run for the parking lot. Other than that, you'll be fine.
Not slowly, rapidly. On the board.
All right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're on the clock here. You can't, it's got to... Hey, Joe, we don't have...
On energy, on inflation, on everything you can name.
Everything I can name. Snack sales. Nope, those are still going up. The dollar. Nope, still worth more than $1. Infrastructure. No, that's improving rapidly. God damn it. I'll think of something.
Afghanistan removal. Everything about...
Afghanistan removal? Is that like a love removal machine, but just like a shitty, like me? If Weird Al was mean... Afghan removal. Afghanistan removal machine.
What he's done, he's destroying our country. And he's also destroying it with weaponization. And this is purely his weaponization.
It's weaponization. They're weaponizing the weapons of weaponization. There's weaponization. What he meant to say was lawfare or weaponization of our Justice Department. I don't think he's like... He didn't become a pacifist during this trial.
See who's in the courtroom. You go just see who's in the courtroom. You'll see, and you'll see where they come from. And if you report it accurately, a lot of people are going to be very upset.
Apparently they're not. I mean, there was like 3,500 people in the Bronx who were there for a laugh, but I didn't get the feeling they were all supporting you.
But this is all election hunting, election interfering.
Election hunting. That's new. That's a new one. That's a swing and a miss. That was a he's always workshopping new phrases when his old phrases get tired.
It's going after Joe Biden's political opponent because he can't do it himself. And they help.
He's kind of been doing it himself. I don't know if you've seen, but they've been shitting on you left and right. He's scored some real solid jokes at your expense, stupid.
And we have a judge who's highly
conflicted.
He happens to
never been more conflicted than conflicted.
be corrupt. It's the worst confliction. It's the worst.
How could I? If I could, how many variations of conflicted can I use except the one that actually has meaning, which is conflict of interest? What the fuck is wrong with you? He has. This is what you're trying to say. You're trying to say he has a conflict of interest. Not that he's conflicted. If he was conflicted, he wouldn't be able to decide whether he should throw you in jail or not, or during your sentencing, he'll be like, I don't know what to do. It'd be like fucking like the most Libra verdict ever handed down. He's not conflicted, dumb fuck. And the thing is, I think you're trying to make the point, though, that he's already made up his mind. Right? In which case, he wouldn't be conflicted. He's already his prejudice, which is ironic in a judge, I suppose.
That anybody's seen. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Well, that's because we never had a president tried before, stupid.
They can't even be the
He's unflicted.
prospect of an impropriety. And it's a shame.
Wait, what?
Wall
Hold on, back the fuck up. 1 second. The
prospect.
No, that sentence.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They can't even be the prospect of an impropriety.
There can't even be the prospect of an impropriety. Okay. Appearance. You mean appearance. There can't even be an appearance. And impropriety? Prospect? What the fuck?
And it's a shame.
It is a shame. It is a shame. Okay, that part we can agree on.
Wall Street Journal editorial board today. Alvin Bragg has improved.
Sorry, the who?
And it's a shame. Wall Street Journal editorial board today. Alvin Bragg has improved this case in the Trump trial. The evidence shows why the charges should never have been brought. After 20 days in court and a trial transcript of 4,000 pages, the missing piece is still the missing piece. There is no crime.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you're gonna lay it out later today. Yeah.
Wall Street Journal.
Who owns Wall Street Journal again? I can't remember. Is he pro-Trump or anti-Trump? Is he pro-Republican or anti-Republican? I can't remember.
Jonathan Turley, a classic closing.
Wait, who's this Jonathan? You can't just blaze through. Who's this Jonathan Turley person? You've never mentioned him before.
Page by the lawyers is to use a physical object like a three-legged stool. If any three-legged stool is missing and any leg is missing,
yes, if the entire stool is gone, you've got no stool to sit on. Fortunately for Donald Trump, he has, where is it? Where did my thing go? Trump always has stool. On standby.
Stool absolutely collapses. Even a cursory review of the evidence shows that this case does not have a leg to stand on. This is a case without a leg to stand on. This
is a legless case.
This is Jonathan Turley. The case against Trump should end in a very strong not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty. I'm not guilty. It should say not guilty. Why won't they say not guilty? I'm not guilty.
I don't know these people.
He worked on your fucking impeachment, you tit.
But they're great legal scholars.
No, they aren't. You just mentioned Jonathan Turley and the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. Simmer the fuck down.
Greg Jarrett, every defendant.
What? Greg Jarrett? Why would you wait this long to introduce a new name? You have all the legal scholars in the world to draw from. They all agree. But keep quoting the same four of them, yeah.
Has the fundamental right to be informed of the nature, the cause of the...
I'll get it.
The accusation.
Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. No, we can't. No, I'm in the middle of a show making fun of him. Yep. I think it's Tiffany, Eric, and Don Jr. Yeah. Don's the one with the pole up his ass, right? The guy who's standing like he's at detention or something, right? And just to try and seem taller than Tiffany because he's got no shot at being as tall as Eric. Yeah, that one. No, Blanche. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I just don't have all of the names of his lawyers memorized. Is he the one that looks like Sam the Eagle if he was like waxed or something. Yeah, he's there. Yeah. Blue tie. He's wearing a blue tie. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good at all. That's his what? That's his losing tie? Why would he wear his losing tie on? Oh, rhino. That makes sense. Yeah, I would have thought. Anyway, sorry, I got to get back to the show. There's an old fart trying to read. So, yeah, I don't actually think he's trying to read it. I think he holding the page below his face hides his nunt. And, yeah, absolutely. Love you too. So.
Against him, but Bragg never abided by that constitutional guarantee.
God damn it. Hello. No, I'm still doing the show. Yeah. I'll call you back after. Yeah, fine.
Even worse, mercy.
Son of a bitch. Okay. He's giving an interview. Yeah. No, you're not interrupting the jokes. You are the jokes. Yeah. Yeah, they know I'm not really talking to somebody. Yes, they know you're a voice in my head. Okay. All right. Love you too. Bye.
John, let him get away with it. He let Bragg get away with it. A trial that Bragg didn't want to put. And he should have done it 7 years ago if they were going to do it. They should have brought this case 7 years ago, not in the middle of my presidential election. Where
they should have done it in the middle of your fucking presidency? What the fuck are you talking about?
Leading by a lot. Biden by a lot.
A lot. Not so much.
They brought it right in the middle of the election. Hopefully it doesn't work out for them. The same way allowed the local court to be misused to enforce a federal law over which he has no authority or jurisdiction. They have a federal law which they're using, but they have absolutely no authority. And under the federal law, I did nothing wrong. Andy McCarthy, former FEC Commissioner Brett.
Oh, Andy McCarthy. You should bring him up as well.
Smith, that's the expert that they wouldn't allow me to use for #1 in the country.
Oh, you mean the guy that isn't germane to the entire thing? Why didn't you bring your cardiologist in?
FEC Commissioner Bradley Smith's testimony would have established that Trump cannot have willfully violated FECA, that's Federal Election Campaign Act, because NDAs are not campaign expenditures. You know, there's nothing wrong with an NDA. They signed off.
No, totally, especially when they're with a porn star while your wife is at home taking care of your infant son.
All the time by many, many companies.
Oh, many companies do this. Do they all do them for this purpose in the middle of an election?
They sign them literally on an hourly basis.
Really? That's a lot.
Because NDAs cannot have, and then it says Trump did not have a FECA legal duty with respect to them. He could not have intentionally flouted the known legal duty. In other words, he's innocent. Mark Levin, same thing. The Bragg case is about lawfare, run him up.
I'm real quick. I'm just going to point out the fact that this shit is not going to be admissible in any way. You do realize this is just opinion of people who side with you. And again, if every legal scholar thinks this never should have been brought, you should never quote the same person twice.
Against a former president.
Yes, and he does have a fecal duty.
Running again for president also represents the greatest effort to interfere with and steal an election. Donald Trump did nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is everybody saying it.
No, it's the same 5 assholes. If it was everybody, you wouldn't have to quote the same 5 assholes. And he did say fecal duty, by the way, as opposed to fiscal. Shall we back up?
Expenditures. You know, there's nothing in the Campaign Act because NDAs are not campaign expenditures.
By the way, he means FECA, which is the Federal Election Campaign Act.
You know, there's nothing wrong with an NDA. They're signed all the time by many, many companies. They sign them literally on an hourly basis. Because NDAs...
Ask Don Jr. and Eric.
NDAs cannot have, and then it says Trump did not have a FECA legal duty with respect.
Fecal legal duty. Yeah.
To them, he could not have intentionally flouted.
And I honestly, I have never seen anyone who looks more like they're trying not to shit than Blanche.
The known legal duty. In other words, he's innocent. Mark Levin, same thing. The Bragg case is about lawfare, run him up against a former president running again for president. It also represents the greatest effort to interfere with and steal an election. Donald Trump did nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. This is everybody saying it. Except we have a judge who's corrupt. We have a judge who's conflicted. You know what the conflict is. So do I, but I can't say it because I'm under a gag order, which is another unconstitutional thing. You ever
No, it isn't.
hear of a president, leading candidate, leading Biden, leading everybody, and have a gag order? I'm not allowed to speak. It's a
No, because we've never had a president, we never had a party stoop so low as to nominate a shitheel like you fuckhead. That's why we've never heard of this before. Not because of it's in concept unheard of. That's not how it works.
first. No president has not been allowed to speak. But this is it.
You're allowed to speak. Talk about your fucking policies, numbnuts.
Read the cover today of the New York Post. Read all the stories in the New York Post. Everybody
All of them? That's a lot. I'm busy.
says this is crazy. This is not.
So if they all just say this is crazy, why would I read this same shit over and over again?
A trial that should happen.
Why would I read 35 stories that just say this is crazy?
It's a very sad day. This is a dark day in America.
No, it's pretty brightly lit, actually, and it's a lovely day in New York. I gotta say, I saw that footage of Robert De Niro outside. It looked very pretty. It's kind of quiet, for New York, anyways.
We have a rigged court case that should have never been brought, and it should have been brought in another jurisdiction.
Well, you should have mentioned that earlier, because you've been saying it every day. Sorry.
And as you know, we asked for that, and the judge never allows us anything.
Boo fucking ew.
And just to end, we had an election expert who was going to say everything was perfect.
Is that what he was going to say? Well, how come? Here's a good idea. Why don't you take the stand and just say everything's perfect? You know more about the election than he does. Aren't you the super expert?
The FEC did nothing. It was fine. And we had a lot of other people. I could give you a list of 40 people that would say the exact same thing.
Really? Then if you got 40 people, then stop quoting the same 5 fuckers.
As these people said. So thank you all very much. We'll see how it goes. This is a very dangerous day for America. It's a very sad day. Thank you.
Are you worried about a conviction?
Are you worried about your massive bald spot being, you didn't even bother today to get the slices all in line?
Very confident today? How do you feel about your clothing?
By the way, these two, so in case you don't know, this is Marla's daughter. I'll be live. I'll be live during the election. Fear not. But these two are the boys that let this motherfucker over here bury their mom on a golf course. He buried their mother on a fucking golf course. She doesn't even have a tombstone. Think about that for a second. Seriously. They're with him today, and he buried their mother on a golf course. I don't know about you, but if my dad did that to my mom, I'd never talk to him again. And I loved my dad. We had a great relationship. But that would be the one and only straw, motherfucker. And by the way, they have the means and wherewithal to move her. To say, Dad, that's wholly inappropriate. I bought a plot at near Grandma and Grandpa in a real cemetery, and we're moving her there. Fuck you. The trucks will arrive tomorrow. Just like, that still, I don't know why that still sticks in my craw, because she's not my mom, but that just seems fucked up. Good Lord. Ugh. And nobody ever asks him about it. I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where it seems like it's in the off-limits category of what you ask somebody about, but it seems very germane to the entire conversation about their relationship with their father and all this kind of shit. And you're like, you didn't have a problem with the burial of your mom on the golf course? The fuck is that? When is somebody going to ask either one of these assholes this in person? Because it's fucking horrifying. Yeah, don't get it, never will, glad I won't, fuck them. You're watching House Parks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show so that I can apparently get more lights. Till these come back on. I don't know, but it's nice. It gives me a little caramelized look. It's good today. A little warmer light than usual. And you can see the fact that my hair is brown and not black because I don't have the contrast set way high for the camera. That said, okay, jumping in. There's a couple of things. Let's go straight to. Speaking of dipshits who don't care that somebody buried their mom on a golf course. Ellis from Die Hard here, and gentrified Beavis come out and give a statement outside the courthouse, either before or after. I don't know when this was in particular, but it's only a couple minutes. I don't know how much more of it there is.
Bring out one actor. Remember in 2020 when every A-list actor...
Sorry, they were talking about De Niro being in an ad for Biden.
...in the world showed up for Joe Biden. They lined up one by one. Now they get one person. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson disavowed, said, hey, listen, I regret voting for him. Cardi B, all the people that lined up behind
Cardi B? You mean Cardi B?
Joe Biden understand that he is...
Wait a minute. The Rock didn't fucking tour around with Biden. And who gives a fuck? He's had this fucking bubble put up his ass about he could run one day and win. And he's buying it right now. That's what that's about.
Failed our country. He has failed the citizens of this nation. Frankly, he has failed the world.
Really? So the president is president of the world, is he?
But the fact that they're holding a rally across the sea.
Across the sea? In a land called Hanalei?
This very witch hunt, right across the street.
Oh, street. You said street. I thought it was across the sea because you said, because I'm sorry. Maybe I thought it was in London or something.
Build the world. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're holding a rally across the seat.
Okay, you didn't say seat. You said across the seat, which is even dumber.
From this very witch hunt, right across the street, tells us exactly what we all knew.
What did we all knew? Guys.
All along, that it is a political persecution. It is a witch hunt. There is a reason one of the people sitting at that desk was the number 3 person in Joe Biden's DOJ.
Well, I guess there's a reason why he isn't anymore, too.
I know my father is not allowed to say Matthew Colangelo in his name, right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
I gotta tell you, I'm judging from his mood, I'm getting the feeling he thinks his dad's going to get convicted. And the appeal will lose as well. I mean, it's bad enough you have to be out there defending the guy who buried your mom on a golf course against a hush money payment that your little brother, that happened during your little brother basically being a suckling infant.
Does that not tell us all everything we need to know about?
Yes, well, it tells us everything we need to know about you fucking too. You're standing by your dad, even though he buried your mother on a golf course and talked about Tiffany's tits before she was born and said he wanted to fuck your sister. And I almost forgot, Jeffrey Epstein's running mate for 2.5 fucking decades until they had a fallout over real estate.
What we're witnessing, it's a witch hunt they're using as a political fundraiser, just like this very judge's daughter has profited from this very case. It is an insanity. It is an embarrassment.
It is a nonsense.
An abomination to democracy and to our republic. And yet it continues.
That's the whole. And yeah, my favorite like laid out like. And yet we're always being attacked. This is the poor, pitiful me. Fucking harbor seal arms that the Trump family does.
Everyone in this case is conflicted, and it hinges on one man who's...
Everybody? Even your dad? I mean, if there's anybody involved in it, it's your dad.
Not just a liar, convicted, someone who's lost his law license...
Because he lied on behalf of your dad. Simmer.
...has been disbarred, someone who served jail time for lying before congressional bodies, and that's it.
Congressional bodies.
That's where we are today in America. This is a sham, it's insane, and it needs to stop, because if you think for 1 second that this ends with Donald Trump, you have not been watching what's going on.
Yeah, it does. It started with him. Why fuck wouldn't it end with him? What are you talking about? Nobody else has done the kind of skeevy shit your dad has. He's unique.
On in the Democrat Party in the last few years.
If they came for my dad, they'll come for P. Diddy and R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby and Danny Masterson. Anybody could be found. Anybody could be attacked as long as they're that level of fucking scum.
They want power at any and all costs. You're right.
If it's at any and all costs, why would they bother with a trial? Why wouldn't his plane just crash or his car not get where it was going or he fucking ends up in a fucking river and like, what are you talking about? Of course there's lines they won't go past, you dumb motherfucker. That's why he's in court.
It's be damned. That can't stand. That can't happen. This sham process.
It is happening. And when he's convicted, it will stand. Of course it will.
Prosecution, this insanity, this abomination has to stop now.
Yeah, too late. Yeah, I mean, they're going to give it to the jury. It's not going to stop anytime. I'm just saying, hold on. I don't know what the fuck this video is that came up. Oh, this is RAV. The Democrats' political persecution of President Trump is clearer than ever. They're live right now. It's so sad.
Then a lot of them didn't vote for me because of that. But I told the truth. I wasn't going to lie to them even then, even when it probably would have got me the nomination, because I do not care about playing politics. I want to tell the truth. Like the Ron Paul revolution is the reason I'm in this.
The Ron Paul revolution. Get the fuck out of here. And anybody who's got into politics because of the Ron Paul revolution was in the crowd that booed Trump at the Libertarian gathering, you tit. Good Lord. Now, sometimes we have people, by the way, you're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Bless you and carry you. Don't forget, super chats are a great way to help the show. Venmo should be working. I know there were some issues with it before, but it should be all right. Let me know. If not, I'll make a new QR code. Maybe that's the issue. But bless you guys and thank you so much for the support. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. There are groups that gather on the news to talk about the case against Donald Trump, and some of them very, very effective. Some of them, like the Five or something, just lost. And I thought, honestly, I got to say, in the discussion about the case, considering Judge Jeanine Pirro is on, former Judge Jeanine Pirro, FJ Jeanine, I just call her F Jeanine. She, considering she's on the panel, she should be a little clearer on what's legal, what's not, what's normal, what's not in terms of that stuff. But for some reason, nope. But I was like, could this be the absolute sphincter of the bottom, if you will, the anus, the butt knuckle of the roundtables talking about the Trump trial? And I'm happy to say the answer is no. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Chris Palante, the right squad. we ventured into try harder kids territory. The right squad. They gamed that. They sat around a table and they came up with a bunch of ideas dumber than that one. I'll tell you what. I bet they came up with one that was better, and they're so fucking stupid they nixed it. This is, the gooder folk. That's exactly right. The tight squad, sure. The tight wads, the right wads. Okay. The shite squad. All right. Anyways, it's on Newsmax, and there's these 5 people sitting around, and they're discussing it. Trump judge gives jury third world instructions. Which I thought he was speaking English the entire time, but apparently clicks and whistles. Apparently it went something like solo, like that. I think that was the we know like the Naboo, blah, 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 blah. Something like that. But this is this is from Monday's Chris Plante, the Right Squad. They discussed the ruling from Judge Juan Merchan that the jury does not have to be unanimous in agreeing on a predicate offense in order to find Trump guilty. Right. Because the crime was the hiding of it. Again, you don't have to find him guilty of the murder. That happened out of state. What happened in this state was the dismembering and the disposal of the body. You are only looking at the dismembering and the disposal of the body. You don't have to find him guilty of murder to find him guilty of dismembering and disposal of the body. You get me? Cool. It's up to the feds or Georgia or wherever the murder happened to try the person for that murder. We are going after him for the crime committed in our jurisdiction, the dismemberment and the disbursement of body parts around the Southland. You get me? I don't know why these dumb motherfuckers don't get this. I don't know why anybody on the news hasn't explained it as concisely as I have. I have no idea, other than they can't. It's nice to know I have a function in this world. But hit that super chat if you appreciate what I'm doing here. Love you. And here we go.
Closing arguments are
Oh, dear.
supposed to begin tomorrow on the New York trial against Donald Trump. And the left wants to put...
Also, by the way, did they find you in a time machine with the door sealed from like 1970? Other than this dude's tie, which is a little like Blade Trinity, I gotta be honest. This dude looks like they dusted off a local newsman from ABC Channel 9, Tennessee's #1 hot news station, right?
behind bars by any means necessary, of course.
Again, if they wanted him behind any means necessary, they just have him disappear and put him in Gitmo, and that'd be that. I gotta say, this fucking the drama. Stop it. He's a Timu Cronkite. That's funny. Again, they say this all the time. They'll do anything. Well, if they'll do anything, why the fuck is he in court?
By hook or by crook, am I right, Mercy?
Are we surprised? Well,
I wouldn't use hook or by crook because he slept with a woman that does porn and his own people call her a hooker, which she isn't. I'm just saying. And he is a crook. And so is Michael Cohen, or at least he was during the time he was working for Trump.
Chris, the American justice system is based on the foundation that if at least one juror has doubt about the prosecution's case, a defendant cannot be convicted. But apparently that's not how it works for Judge Juan Merchan, who has ruled that the jury...
Juan Merchan. I mean, you got to give it up for the fluidity of his name. Juan Merchan sounds like that dude with dark hair. Can you imagine this dude with like a black goatee and dark hair? I'm Juan Merchan. I'm your judge, your jury, and your sexecutioner. Come on, baby. I'm Juan Merchan. Forget about it. Remember it. All right.
In this case, does not have to be unanimous in agreeing on a predicate offense in order to find Trump guilty.
Right. They just have to find him guilty of the actual charges in the fucking case. Not that he tried to interfere with the election externally. That's up to the federal courts to decide.
Telling them they don't have to agree on what the crime was, as long as they each believe he has falsified documents in order to conceal a separate crime.
Right. They don't have to agree that he murdered the person. They don't have to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that he murdered them or a murder even occurred. We're just trying him for dismembering and disposing of a body. Why the fuck can't people wrap their heads around this? Look, chat room, Jesus Christ, have we all not, if 2020 taught us anything while we were all at home watching true crime, that's how it fucking works. Good fucking Lord. Just tell me, chat room, please, let me know. Does that seem clear? Does that seem fucking clear? Right? That's what's going on. That's what this case is about. Whether he murdered the person or fucking found the body doesn't matter. That's for another court to decide. What we're trying him on is chopping the body up and dispensing it on playgrounds all over the city. You get me? That's illegal here. Whether he killed the person or found them, that's illegal here. That's what this is. That's what that means. You don't have to, because we're not seeking to prove whether he murdered the person or found the dead body or bought it illicitly on the fucking black market or any of that shit. That's not our charge because it happened in another fucking state. It happened in DC. That part, that's the Federal Election Commission. That's their job. If they bring charges, fine. If they don't bring charges, that's up to them. But we know a crime was committed here. Oh my fucking God. Right? Motherfucker.
So if some jurors believe Trump falsified business records to cover up a tax crime, while others think he tried to commit federal or state election violations, which are two separate predicates, they can still convict.
Right. Right. Because he falsified business records for a further greater crime.
President Trump ripped Merchant on Truth Social, saying...
On Truth Social? What's this place? Is that the place that lost $320 million since the beginning of the year? Maybe $4 by the time we're recording this. Thank you, pubic hair, pubic hair. I get it. Okay, gotcha. That's good. I like it. Thanks, pubes, for the 666.
The radical, highly conflicted judge came up with 3 fake options for the jury,
fake options,
which is un-American and unconstitutional, saying he had to...
It isn't, though. It really isn't. The point is, you don't have to agree on what happened outside. You can tell from a bunch of different conversations that he was doing something else. You could see it gave him 3 possible benefits, all being illegal, but you don't have to decide which one because he was clearly doing it for one of those things.
Do so because District Attorney Alvin Bragg could not prove a crime was committed. Harrison, let me start with you. This is remarkable what we're watching.
It's so remarkable. I don't know.
Watching here happening in this courtroom.
It's so true.
Where Judge Merchant's basically saying, okay, if it could be on 2 separate crimes here, that if you agreed he falsified the record, then he's guilty. Have you ever seen anything like this happen before?
No, it's
yes.
crazy. I actually sat on a murder trial for 4 weeks. It was crazy. I was 18 years old when I did this, and I remember the jury instructions were very clear.
Hey, fuckwad, real quick. Did the murder happen in the jurisdiction you were sitting in? Just a quick question. Did the alleged murder happen inside the actual jurisdiction you were in?
But one thing that was always clear, just in law in general, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. But now they're concocting the crimes to be like, oh, well, it could be a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is not like Cold Stone, where you can get a little bit of ice cream, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No, this is the law.
Cold Stone? That's where you're going with this? This is salad bars, the analogy. Come on.
Trying to put a former president in jail for the rest of his life.
No, this is not for the rest of his life. There is no mandatory minimum on this, but there's certainly no situation where on these charges you go to jail for life. Simmer the fuck down.
And these are the jury instructions. It speaks to the bigger question. The bigger question
is, why the ever-loving fuck do you think any judge would give someone life imprisonment for this?
issue here is that Judge Merchan is corrupt. He is playing the game for Joe Biden, for DA Bragg. There's a reason why he has this case, is because he's willing to put his fingers on the scale of justice for the Democratic Party 5 months before an election. This is election interference to its
it's terrible. It's terrible. This guy's going to be quoted by Trump tomorrow.
finest, and the American...
That's what, by the way, that's what all these panels are about, is everybody's trying to get in Trump's mouth. I'm sorry, I said it that way.
People see it, and I just pray that someone on this jury is noticing what is happening, and they will cause a hang jury.
So talking about
Cause a hang jury? I think you mean a hung jury. A hanging jury is very bad for your client, sir.
election interference, more evidence that this and other trials against Donald Trump are part of the Democrats' plan to get Joe Biden reelected. According to Politico, Joe Biden is planning on addressing the nation and reacting to the verdict of the New York trial once it comes. Get this, in a White House setting. In order to make it appear the statement is not political, but if the jury convicts, he will make the argument that Trump is ill-suited for office.
And?
Yeah, nothing political about that. And his campaign will then make a push to paint Trump as a convicted felon on...
Well, they won't have to. He will be. And they'll just call him that.
social media. I mean, let me ask you, Jason, to me, this is so predictable of what the White House is doing. They're going to, if Trump is convicted, they're going to make this into their big political campaign. But they're using the White House to make this argument. Why so?
Well, first of all, if he's convicted of a felony, then he will be a convicted felon. I disagree with Harrison that he's going to go to jail. I don't think that this crime is something that...
Where did the sensible man come from? How did they find this guy? How did he get in here? God damn it.
A judge will send him to jail for. I think there's the other things that he's accused of in Florida and in Washington, D.C. are much more serious. But I don't think this is going to be something where he ends up going to jail, even if he's convicted. But he will be a convicted felon if he is convicted of felonies. So for an opponent in a political race, I don't know any political campaign that would not point out that my opponent is a convicted felon and has committed crimes, particularly crimes that affect elections.
Sir, I don't know who you are, but I love you and I want to have your babies. You must feel so alone right now at that table.
So I don't see why, President Biden should be any different than any other campaign that has ever been run in the history of this country.
So Biden is using the White House to literally give
She didn't like that answer, so she's just jumping to the next person.
a national address if Trump were convicted. I mean, it's almost setting it up as if it's already happening.
It's weird. Yeah, the Biden administration has this weird fucking thing where they prepare for two possibilities ahead of time instead of just free-balling it and hoping somebody else will take care of it for them. It's so fucking weird.
Basically, predicting Trump's conviction. I mean, this is insane.
That's where they just left with, this is insane. It's a great way to sum up almost any Newsmax clip. Now, and I say almost because, in all fairness, some of them aren't crazy, or aren't insane. They're just fucking dumb. Did somebody, what? Yeah, how dare the Dems fight dirty? Yeah, we're not even fighting dirty. How dare the Dems use the truth against our presidential candidate? Oh, it's so good. Now, I'm going to try and find... I don't think there is... I don't think... yeah. I don't know. I don't think there's footage of him leaving today. Yeah. Right? I want to make sure I'm not missing this. There very well may be... but I think he just bugged the fuck out. Is there? Hold on, we'll see. Because it might have come up in the last little bit. Yeah, Trump believing. Is this Eric? Yeah. Okay. Oh wait. Okay. So this is Eric's statement. He's giving. Look at him giving Don the stink eye. I'm taller. I go first. I'm the one who's had to plead the fifth 500 times. Asshole.
So I sit here today as a son. Forget about politics for a second. I've been.
I'm here as the son of a mother who is buried on a golf course right now. My mother. Okay, my mother is. Guys, it's insane. My mother is buried on a golf course right now. 8 feet away from her, old men are farting and saying shit as they slice into the woods. Okay, and my mom is buried, and nobody can even see it because grass has grown up around. Around, you know, it's disgusting. Around her, I wouldn't even call it a tombstone. It's like one of those things you leave to find your golf ball.
In that courthouse with my father almost every single day.
Almost.
And not a single New Yorker as they look at murders in the streets, women getting thrown in front of trains.
Dude, I gotta say, like, it's. Why are people out and about in New York when it's that dangerous? First of all, look at the lens this motherfucker's got. Way to bring it, dude. Like great muscle control in that arm, because that thing, you tilt that forward, that's a couple of grand once that hits the ground. Very impressive. But I gotta say, like, you do know that we can see behind you that the buildings aren't on fire and that people aren't just being stabbed at random. And yeah, you do realize that. The scariest thing in this whole fucking image is your wife.
Kids getting shot in Times Square.
Laura singing mass hysteria.
The degradation of this city. Not a single New Yorker believes that over $130,000 payment.
This has got to be rough. $130,000 payment to a porn star. Keep going.
From 9 years ago, from 8 years ago, that the entire DA's office is lining that courtroom.
They're not, though. They're not. It's New York. It's fucking New York. They have an enormous judicial system. Are you fucking kidding me? There are, 7 million people in Manhattan and the 5 boroughs?
Sitting there, they're laughing. They're giggling.
Well, it is funny. I mean, your dad, you got a little mushroom dick, and you're sitting there having to listen to it. Laura keeps singing in the hallway. There's a lot to laugh at.
This was their moment. This is how they embarrassed Donald Trump. This is legal lawfare.
Why would a $130,000 payment be embarrassing? Doesn't he made a lot of $130,000 payments over the years? Please, just what was it about? I'm just curious. What was it about this particular payment that perhaps might be embarrassing? What was it? Anything? I mean, was there a secondary detail? I don't know. Why 130,000? Maybe that's the number because it's so small. That's what it was. Your dad writes bigger checks than that. This is like the smallest payoff he's ever written.
All while this state absolutely melts. Everybody that sits here right.
Yeah, you see that van? It's on fire. There's a guy running behind it. He's on fire. Everybody's It's just running over people.
Right now, every single one of you knows that this is not the same state.
Look at this. Look at this. Gangs of roving teenage girls shopping, I think, it's just hideous. It's hideous.
That we knew 10 years ago. Now, knew it was not the same state as we saw 5 years ago. You have total
well, yeah, because you're unwelcome.
Degradation of New York State, because the only thing that Alvin Bragg wants to do, only thing that Letitia James wants to do, is criminally prosecute Donald Trump.
Well, it's a good hobby. It's a nice living if you can make it, you know.
And they're doing it for one reason. They're doing it
because he's a adjudicated rapist and a second-generation rich kid asshole who wouldn't rent to black people and had a case go against him in the beginning of that, and has been cheating the city he's lived in and lying about his charitable contributions and sneaking into the dressing rooms of 15-year-old girls and palling around with Jeffrey Epstein for fucking years. Is that why?
Because they have a political vendetta. They're all funded by George Soros.
No, I think 2 of them were.
That's what this is. This is political lawfare, and it absolutely has to stop.
Thank you for at least getting the word right, because Junior struggled, and he had a real hard time.
And I watch a man, he's the toughest man I've ever seen, and he...
Really? Really? I don't know, he kind of whines a lot. I gotta tell you, I know some tough dudes in my life, and they don't moan anywhere near as much as your dad does. He's the moaniest motherfucker.
Endures this nonsense every single day. He sits in that seat, and that's not comfortable. He's never done a damn thing wrong.
What? I'm sorry. You fucking hero of the blue collar the maggot working class, and your thing is he has to sit in an uncomfortable chair all day. Welcome to the lives of most New Yorkers, you dumb motherfucker. Jesus Christ. He wasn't even able to get up and have somebody bring him a Diet Coke or sexually harass one of the females walking around, which is what he normally does or whatever. He's totally out of his element,
They tried to impeach him in D.C. They tried to impeach him a second time.
They did impeach him. They didn't convict in the Senate and remove him from office, but he was impeached.
They went after his Supreme Court justices.
Well, they all lied about Roe v. Wade being settled law. And who the fuck paid off Kavanaugh's debts?
The DOJ, they turned the FBI against him. They couldn't stop him. When that didn't work, guess what they did?
I thought the FBI was against him when he came in, and then he put in Ray, and Ray's been against him ever since, too. I think it's all the evidence, honestly.
They went after his family. They went after me. 110 subpoenas later that I've received. I've never gotten so much as a parking ticket. 110 subpoenas. They went after...
Well, he put you in charge of the company, and so therefore you were in charge of all those crimes.
Don. They went after Laura. They went after little Baron Trump.
No, they did not.
As a young kid,
No, they did not.
young teenager, they went after Tiffany
No, they fucking did not. What are you talking about?
Trump. They tried to make his life hell.
By insisting that your dad was his dad?
And then they weaponized every single DA. They weaponized every AG in every far left area because Biden is incompetent and he's losing in all the polls. Across the board, he's losing in every quantifiable metric.
Right. Your rallies are getting bigger all the time, and Biden hasn't gotten a single endorsement from large organizations like the UAW or...
country is going to hell. And this is their answer. Go after him.
Yeah, look at this. Look out, Eric. Look out behind you. You're Laura, watch out. Hooligans. Look at it over here. Somebody was walking their dog too. It's probably going to be sicked on you because they're sick and twisted and they're not even prosecuting dog biting crimes anymore. Run. Well, you can outrun this guy. You probably maybe this guy's a little quicker. I don't know.
For $130,000, and I want to say sorry to...
Was it the amount?
The jury that's in there. This has been the greatest colossal waste of time. I want to say thank you to the NYPD. You have thousands of officers down here. Thousands of officers down here that could be protecting our streets. Instead, they're guarding this courthouse.
Yeah, maybe your dad shouldn't have been such a high-profile crook.
Against a sham trial. This has cost New York millions and...
Somebody's yelling at him, Lars trying to run him off with a stink eye.
Millions and millions of dollars. And New York deserves so much better than this.
I agree. That's why they're trying to get rid of him. And one day they will.
And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're right. The entire country knows that this is nonsense. They don't buy it. A poll just came out from the New York Times. Even Democrats, the vast majority of Democrats, know that this
gibberish
case is a sham.
Gibberish.
And I think we're going to prevail. And I'm just proud of the toughest person I've ever met in my entire life.
Laura Trump.
For having the backbone and fortitude to go through this whole mess as uncomfortable as it's been.
Hey, dumbass, guess what? This is the easy one. I'm not kidding. This is the easy one. This is the one that has no jail time on the line. The classified documents one, that's when Trump's going to start making soup for his family. I'm just telling you. You think that chair's uncomfortable? I got news for you. The chairs in that trial are going to be physically more comfortable, but emotionally far less comfortable.
And I'm proud to have stood there every single second by his side in that freezing cold courtroom.
I guess it runs in the family.
Against unthinkable odds and a corrupt judge and people making a lot of money.
Making a lot? Who? They're career prosecutors. They have a salary from the city no matter what they do. And they don't get a fucking tip because they take down your dad, you dumbass.
Political witch hunt. He's an
The people who are making money are your dad's shit lawyers.
inspiration to me every single day, and he'll be vindicated. Thank you very much.
No, he won't. Because, again, hold on. Remind me to get a bigger left ear hole. All right, anyways.
Very much.
Oh, really? Laura didn't come up and say something? Shit. Yeah, Laura's stepping in there. I guess I kind of expect to some degree him, all of them to come out and say this stuff on the final days or day. Let's see. This is live. Yeah, so closing arguments are still underway. This is a shot from inside the courtroom. As soon as he comes out, I'll try and grab this. They should be finishing up soon, shouldn't they? Right? They should be. Copeland. Oh, are this people bringing shit in for the daily wrap up? Nope, they're just leaving. There goes traffic court. All right, we'll check back in with it as we go. Can we? We'll take a side trip right now into Panic Land, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, and I'll pause this right here.
We have.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn. Ladies and gentlemen, never have I seen this much honesty in a Glenn Beck thumbnail. I gotta say, this is, as Glenn Beck thumbnails go, this nails it. I think they should all be titled this. Are they sequestering the jury? No, they're not. I mean, during deliberation, they might be. We'll see. This is bad. Now, I'm not going to do all this one because we're going to wait for Trump to come back out. But apparently this is the terrifying new ESG rule that Glenn warned you about is now here. It's over, folks. World's over. Okay? Fuck you. World's over. We're done. We're screwed.
I have some good news and I have some bad news. Which do you want first?
I'm a glutton for punishment, so they'll take the bad news first.
Okay. You sure? Okay.
He's filling time again. I can tell by the clips now. I know it now.
Here we go.
Okay.
This is extraordinarily bad news from the European Union.
Really? I thought, real quick, if Biden is destroying the country and he's the worst president we've ever had, how would you ever run out of things to say are going wrong here?
This is something that I have been warning listeners and readers about for over 3 years now.
That it was imminent?
It was included in both the Great Reset and the Dark Future books.
Not directly, but sort of related.
We really went into it in Dark Future, talking about this can't happen. If this happens, no, really.
Is that some good writing in that book, I gotta say. Is that what the audiobook sounds like? Because I gotta snap that shit right up.
Well, it's just happened.
Well, at least we don't have to listen to you whine about it anymore.
We've talked about it on the air several times, but
never in such boring terms.
Now it's official and it's in writing, and so I'm going to explain it and tell you what it is and what it's going to do.
Anytime now, sure. You've been telling us for 3 years, but now tell us. Now a warning?
It looked like this bill was going to die several times over the past few months. In fact, Justin Haskins and I had a big argument. I should have made a $3,000 bet with him, and then I could have paid you off for the Michelle Obama thing. He said it would fail, and it is not. Now it is one of the biggest threats to freedom in America, both in the short and the long term.
The biggest threat to freedom in America is something the EU just voted on. Cool.
Because of this law in Europe, Our society, through corporate decision making and business partnerships, are going to be forced to conform with the European rules, values, and environmental standards.
Dear God!
European social justice metrics are now officially, they have to be imposed on America through this law.
No, they don't.
The only thing that will change this is if Congress acts and the president acts. This president and this, at least, Senate will never stop this.
Which is, get to it already. I mean, it's already done. We're already dead. It's over. It's over. But just tell us.
Here's what's going to happen.
All right. Get on with it.
EU has established an extraordinarily complex, very large ESG system that covers all companies. And when I say all companies will need to comply with. This includes both covered companies based in the U.S. as well as non-EU companies, such as those in America and Canada that operate in the EU. So in other words, you sell, I think it's half a...
Oh, you mean like, let me give you an example. Like if an American company makes snacks and they make them and they sell them in Canada, they have to be labeled in English and French. And that's why everybody in America is being forced to learn French. Okay, all right. A little bit more.
$1 billion worth of stuff, and you have to comply. You sell $500 million in Europe, just under that, then you have to comply. But so do all of the companies that you do business with. So if you're a small company and you're making widgets and you sell them to a...
and your widgets contain toxic levels of mercury, continue.
Company that is making...
That are, by the way, mercury that is mined by slave labor.
Big money, and I wonder...
And the factory that you distill it in is a coal-burning plant that only uses coal when they run out of live human beings to burn. Please continue.
If this applies to Amazon. You sell something on Amazon, that's a company that's making at least $500 million in Europe. You're going to have to comply.
Eden Pure is back with...
Oh, get the fuck out of here. But Eden Pure sure as shit doesn't sell $500,000 worth of whatever the fuck. Look at him throwing ads in the middle of this shit now. Fuck this dude. And no paid promotion marker. Excuse me. 1 second. Report. Let's see. Legal issue promotes spam or misleading. I don't know if. Let's see. What would it qualify as? I guess spam. Mass advertising. That's what it is. Contains paid promotion with no labeling. Okay, sorry, I'm just reporting Glenn Beck's clip. Sorry. Now I'm back.
To the European government authorities, if they are EU-based customers or companies with more than 1,000 employees and a worldwide turnover of more than $489 million. Turnover is another word for revenue or income, but why wouldn't you say that? This word bothers me. I just think it's one of those, it's like stakeholders that nobody notices, and then you hear stakeholders and you know what it means. You're like, oh, crap, that's everybody.
No, not everybody is a stakeholder in everything.
Non-EU
Unless you get it, you buy a stake and you're currently holding it.
based companies,
In which case, we're all stakeholders if you're holding a stake.
such as U.S. companies now, fall under the requirements if they have a net turnover of more than $489 million with the European Union. Franchise
Apple turnover? Yummy.
and licensing agreements, as well as subsidiaries of larger companies, will also fall under the EU's ESG regime.
All right. What's the rule change?
I don't know exactly
What's the rule change?
lawyers have not
Is it about what you can invest in or because you have to actually just chart it?
even really explained this yet.
Can you still invest in them? You just have to if you're a giant hedge fund or rather a pension fund, you have to let people know because of your fiduciary duty that the ESG score is such.
But we have been covering this for so long, we think we know what this means.
I mean, come on. Folks, is there a better encapsulation? Nothing sums up the blaze like that statement. That statement right there. That is gorgeous. Say that again, stupid.
Know exactly. The lawyers have not even really explained this yet. But we have been covering this for so long, we think we know what this means.
Oh, it's like, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Oh, that's
But licensing agreements.
Mm-hmm.
I write books.
Well,
some of them sell in Europe.
Some of them sell. Most don't.
Simon & Schuster sells books like crazy over in Europe. They're making over $489 million, I'm sure, in Europe. Am I now forced to comply? Thank God I have Mercury Inc. now, and I don't have to do Simon & Schuster.
Fuck are you talking about? No. It would have to do with how they print their books with the best available score if they want new investment money.
But am I required?
What the fuck are you? No, what are you talking about?
Importantly, all covered companies will need to ensure that the businesses in their supply and value chains, I don't know what that means. You know what supply and value chain is?
Yes. That includes materially where you're and the companies you work with for marketing and promotion. For example, marketing and promotion is a part of the value part of it, in that your promotion, the cost of the thing itself, the physical act of building the thing or making a widget and selling it.
Ford, have you checked your value change? What is exactly the numbers on your value change? What does that mean?
Value chain or value change?
Value chains.
I mean, I'm very in touch with my value chain.
Yeah. Okay.
All the dick joke.
Also, those companies, anybody who makes a widget for these companies has to adhere to the relevant ESG rules. ESG.
The relevant ones. Okay.
Environmental, social, and governance. Do you have enough black hermaphrodites that only have one leg?
Fuck you. That's not at all what that means.
Do you have them on your board? Well, why not? That's the governance part. Social is all of the social justice crap that...
Like not using slave labor
is environment.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. 1 second. Whoops. Checking. I'm glitchy and thing. Is image okay? Whack connection? Sorry. Wait.
This bill, by the way, will destroy the petroleum.
Well, don't be with a good.
And don't worry.
And you mean the Russians and the Saudis and shit? We'll have it. Okay.
Petroleum. It's not used in anything. Nothing in petroleum. This will indirectly impose Europe's ESG standards on countless American companies, including many small businesses. All covered companies,
small businesses that drop ship,
will need to create climate change transition plans, prevention action plans, establish contractual assurances from a direct business partner that it will ensure compliance with the business's prevention action plan. So, you make a widget, but you don't sell it to Ford.
No.
You sell it.
That's weird. I'm gelatinizing? That's so fascinating. Hold on one second. Do I look better now? Because I want you to know that if there's anything that's happening, it's happening in Wyoming. Okay. That was very, it's kind of cool looking, Mark. I got to tell you. I don't know. Yeah.
To somebody that is making radios for Ford. You don't have anything to do with Ford. But if you want to sell a widget to another company that does business with Ford, or sell it to another company that company sells to another company to sell to Ford, you see how this is working?
Yeah, all it does is drive up the prices of stuff in Europe if we sell to them, and there will be exclusions and exceptions for it, just like there were in the Paris Accord.
And if you don't comply in America, you cannot sell anything in Europe.
Anything. Nothing.
You also establish contractual assurances, business for...
Or you could always, of course, sue under American law for anti-competitive trade practices.
And
you would win.
Make necessary financial or non-financial investments or upgrades. The hell does that mean?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you're... Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm all... Look how fancy now. Sorry. Back up. What?
Investments or upgrades. The hell does that mean?
Okay.
In Europe. You also establish contractual assurances, business prevention, and make necessary financial or non-financial investments or upgrades. The hell does that mean?
Well, non-financial investments would be team building exercises, anything that doesn't cost you direct money, but
individual countries will write their own law.
Or making stuff more efficient, for example, which technically is money you're not spending anymore.
Laws in accordance with this new EU ESG law. Each country in the EU will be responsible for enforcing its rules and issuing punishments.
So, hold on real quick. The European Union, this is his breakdown of it. The European Union just gave its final approval for a new ESG requirements that will affect companies around the world. Glenn has been warning about this over years. There's only one way to stop it. Why should Americans be worried about EU regulations? What's the one way to stop it? Bomb Europe? What the fuck are you talking about? Real quick, I need to, let's see. Yeah. I'll open up here. Here we go. We'll move this over here. And I'll go to, get out of here, you crazy page. Let's see. New EU ESG rule. Yeah. Latest on SEC climate rule. We got EU finalizes ESG this with international impacts. Okay, this is I think what he's. Okay, this seems to be what he's talking about. Harvard Law School for Corporate Governance. European Union has finalized corporate sustainability reporting directive that will introduce more detailed sustainability reporting requirements for EU companies, non-EU companies, and meeting certain thresholds for net turnover in the EU and companies with the securities listed on regulated on the EU market, right, if you're traded over there. CSRD entered into force on January 5th, 2023, and is substantially consistent with the provisional version in June 22. It's the same thing that's been going on. The rules will be phased in starting January 1st, 2024 for certain large EU and EU-listed companies, will apply to all in-scope companies by January 1st, 2028. Background. CSRD is a key pillar in the EU's ambitious focus on corporate sustainability and sits alongside other major European legislative and regulatory initiatives aimed at boosting the green economy. Taken together, the package of legislation and regulation imposes substantial new disclosure and compliance requirements for companies operating in the EU as well as many other companies. Okay, you got to just... Okay, scope of this under the other entities will be required to provide new sustainability disclosures if they are large EU entities or groups, have securities, including debt securities with denominations lower than 100,000 euros or equivalent or depository receipts listed on the EU regulated market, which means except micro enterprises, or are non-EU entities with significant EU revenues and an EU branch or subsidiary. Non-EU entities will fall into this category above if they have annual net turnover exceeding 150 million for each of the last 2 consecutive financial years and have at least one large subsidiary, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Reporting obligations. The scope of the reporting. They will have to, under CSRD, these disclosures will be required to cover a range of ESG-related topics, including environmental disclosures covering each of the EU taxonomy, environmental objectives, which are climate change mitigation, such as Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3, greenhouse gas emissions, climate change adaptation, water and marine resources. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Disclosure requirements for non-EU. A modified set of disclosure standards will apply to non-EU groups that are in the scope of the CSRD because they surpass the net turnover threshold and have a EU branch or subsidiary. These standards are expected to be adopted by June 2024. These standards are expected to primarily focus on disclosures relating to companies' impacts on people and the environment rather than sustainability risks and opportunities facing the companies. Drafts of these standards have not been unveiled. Okay, this is the earlier version of this. Okay, and then we'll go to the news on this one, I suppose. It'll come up. Here you go. The Western Journal. Europe just approved the worst communist law ever. How it affects you. Well, let's just jump straight in. This is the Western Journal. The European Union just passed a directive requiring ESG mandates for European ESG, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's applied Marxism without all the goofy theories, tyranny with nuance that we would call it. We'll take it a minute. Well, you can't have tyranny with nuance. You either have tyranny or you don't. Under the new rules, companies will have to take measures to prevent, identify, mitigate any adverse impact on human rights or the environment. By the way, adverse impact does not mean you have to incorporate, like Glenn was saying in as bigoted a way as possible, that you have to guarantee there's a certain amount of minority people or whoever, handicapped people on your board. That's not what this is. The mitigate any adverse impact, meaning first do no harm. That's the problem he has. Like, what if you have to have a first do no harm approach, then why be in business? Corporate sustainability due diligence directive. Companies will need to identify and mitigate any adverse impact on human rights and the environment with respect to their own operations, their own subsidiaries, and those carried out by their partners. Okay, yeah, adverse impact. That does not mean you have to participate in the Green New Deal or the fucking any of that shit. It just means you don't have to. There's no secondary impact by what you're doing that causes that problem. You're not using slave labor, for example. That's what they're talking about. That would be an adverse impact.
Billion and activist groups also are covered in this bill. Activist groups can bring private cause of action against companies for failing to meet guidelines. Will open up the floodgates for attorneys right there. The EU requirements are going to be phased in beginning in 2027. Now, let me get into the actual
2027. We got bigger fish to fry, Glenn. You're boring us.
Requirements that we can. This is a very complex and very big bill.
Yeah, very complex. But he thinks he's been talking about it so long. He thinks he understands it.
over the weekend. Thank God for Justin Haskins and his team. He went through all of it. So
right, so we don't have to.
Let me tell you what these rules are. Again, we're talking about something that just passed on Friday in the EU that affects us, and it's
oh my God,
it's the economy, it's the environment, it's free speech, it's all of it.
No, it isn't.
So there's not a single long list of specific rules that companies need to comply with.
So it's unenforceable. Bye. Okay. I for fuck's sake. Look, if there should be a "you're wasting my fucking time" flag at some point, right? Shouldn't we at some point have like some sort of guarantee, like maybe some sort of AI thing that watches the video a couple of seconds ahead and goes, "Bail out now. Bail out now." Okay, and let me see if the Trump thing is ahead of the. Get up in here. Nope. Here we go. Let's see. Susan there. Voter separating Trump's policies from Trump's character was too big. Okay. Oof. All right. Next up. Yeah. This is. Let me introduce you to the kind of heavy lifting no one needs to be doing in a campaign. Let me just present this to you, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait diligently for Donald Trump to leave the courthouse. By the way, this is Hal Sparks, Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Here we go. Super chats, likes, sharing the show out. That helps. Lets people know we're here. Love it. Really helps. Okay, so if I may, ladies and gentlemen, do you think there's a part of where the Democrats have had to sit around a table and discuss how do we sell people on Biden's policies and make them forget who he is as a man? Do you think that's ever had to be a fucking conversation? I'm serious. That we need to separate, us getting what we want from this guy in a way where we don't have to talk about how that he's an adjudicated rapist and a pussy-grabbing second-generation rich kid who palled around with Jeffrey Epstein for 2.5 decades. Meanwhile, over in fucking cloud cuckoo land, imagine this being... Look at this. Voters separating Trump's policies from Trump's character with Stu Begay and Dave Marcus. Imagine that had to be your fucking sales point. We've got to come up with a way to make people think about the policies Trump will put forward, like his health care plan. Oh, wait. And separate that from his being an absolute shit stain on the drawers of humanity. Yes, I don't think he's going to stab her. I think he's trying to jerk off her hair. But anyways, this is Megyn Kelly, who left Fox News because she was being sexually harassed, trying to convince people that an adjudicated rapist is okay to vote for because the stuff he would do would be better than every other Republican who would do almost exactly the same fucking thing.
I feel about this kind of the way I felt when I saw all those Dave Portnoy stories come out. With all a lot of women accusing Dave Portnoy of being kind of gross.
Oh, yeah, and you can't believe them women, right, Megan? You can't believe a bunch of women coming out against a man in power. You can't believe them.
And that is, don't marry Donald Trump. Don't slide into Dave Portnoy's DMs and have sex with him within an hour of meeting him. These are bad ideas. And I...
Also, don't put either of them in charge of your rights as a woman. At one point, Roger Ailes was in charge of your health care plan, dumbass.
I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump to be my husband.
No, I'm gonna, because your husband wouldn't have that kind of power over your fucking uterus. He wouldn't. An individual man cannot stop a woman from having an abortion legally. But the president sure as fuck could. What the fuck?
Not happening, right? And I can admire Dave Portnoy and his talent as a broadcaster without thinking it's a good idea to, slide into his DMs. I just think like we're kind of past the point as an electorate of being that buttoned up.
Fuck you, lady. Then go ask for your job at Fox back. Seriously. That buttoned up?
On a man's sex life and the weirdness in it.
No. Sexual assault is not part of your sex life. Your sex life pertains entirely to the relationships you actually have. Consensual sex. That's your sex life. What you're thinking about is his rape life.
As long as it's not a Me Too situation. You know what I mean?
Well, it's been a Me Too situation. Here's a good idea. How about you can think that about watching fucking football games or some shit, anything where somebody is in a secondary industry that doesn't control your life, but putting them in charge of who picks the Supreme Court justices, are you out of your fucking mind?
I don't have to marry him. I need some.
I just have to give him the right to remove my rights in a way that I could never give to my husband. Legally. You can marry your husband in any state in this union, and he still wouldn't have as many rights and as much control over your rights as the president does.
Somebody who's going to close the damn border, Dave, right? It's like, and by the way, if we're going to go there, why is Joe Biden taking inappropriate showers with his daughter, according to her?
He isn't.
Can we ask that? Where's the trial and the endless media coverage on it?
Because it's from a diary entry from a diary that was stolen. And also they weren't inappropriate showers. The idea is they all went to the beach and they all took showers together, and that was that. Like, because old people used to walk around naked in front of their family because it wasn't a big deal. There was a period where people were like that. He doesn't still do it. Donald Trump does. Donald Trump is still fucking hiring arm hangers that pose with him like they're his fucking wife. He still talks sexually about his daughter now.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been telling Stu for years to stop dropping into Portnoy's DMs, but
he never answers.
I'm glad that you're backing me up on this stuff. No, look, I think you're absolutely right. I just want to go back just quickly on the jury thing, this idea of, well, why don't we present our own version of here are the events? I remember my mom was a criminal defense attorney, and she used to talk to me about that point very directly. And she said the worry that she always had with that was that then instead of saying to the jury, if you have any reasonable doubt, you have to find not guilty, you're putting these competing theories in their mind, and that the jury might say, which theory do I believe more, and go that way. So you've gone from giving yourself the highest level of standard to a 50-50 choice between in any.
I don't know what he's relating to, because that was before this clip started, and that's just bad programming on Megyn Kelly's part.
That's all complicated. From the electoral standpoint, I agree with you 100%, Megan. I mean, I think at this point, sure.
As a man, I don't give a fuck what he's going to do when he's in there. It's really not going to affect me much.
Sort of.
Probably going to make sure you bitches can't get an abortion and put Viagra in the water. I'm cool.
Exactly. There being allegations of sexual assault. And we even had those with Trump, honestly.
Well, that's right, Dave. And that had come out separate and apart. The Stormy, it's not like Stormy was like, Donald Trump raped me. Now that would have been worth paying to stop, right?
What are you talking about? E. Jean Carroll said he raped her. The jury found that was a reasonable charge, that it actually happened.
Like, if that would have gotten a bigger number, and if that had happened, it would have been an absolute game changer, potentially. I don't know, though, because all these other women did come out and say what they said. But to your point, the Access Hollywood tape broke in October, and then we did have a parade of women come out and say, Yeah, look what he did to me on an airplane. Look what he did to me in a hotel room, etc.
Yeah, and maggots didn't give a fuck. And if it wasn't for 73,000 faux-gressives in 3 states going, fuck a woman president, I'll never let that happen, especially if it's that bitch, he would have never been in office.
Look, I'm not sure that we're better off today than we were, in the 80s. I won't say the 90s because Bill Clinton skated on some pretty serious sexual stuff in the 90s, right? But in the 80s, Gary Hart didn't. Right?
Gary Hart wasn't accused of sexual assault. Gary Hart got a picture of a woman sitting on his fucking lap, and it scuttled his entire campaign.
Gary Hart's campaign, and he had a real good chance at winning. Gary Hart's campaign ended because there was a picture of a woman in a bikini sitting on his lap. That was all it took in 1984. Now,
fast forward to Republicans now, family values, fuck you.
I think part of that is that we didn't have social media. Part of that is that journalism was able to sit on stories, right? We didn't know about all of JFK's stuff. I don't know if we're in a better position today than we were when that kind of stuff was disqualifying, because today nothing's disqualifying. I mean,
thanks to Trump.
Yeah.
There's just nothing that's disqualifying anymore. The idea seems to be
no. On the Republican side, John Edwards, anyone? The Democrats have expelled a bunch of fucking people. The Republicans would elect Dennis Hastert right now.
If that's my guy and he's going to get done what I want to get done, I don't care if his son was sitting on the board of Burisma and did X, Y, Z, right? I mean, it just doesn't matter anymore. And that does worry me a little bit as a society, because I'm old enough to remember when it wasn't quite like this.
I like that point.
Sitting on the board of Burisma doing what? Compared to palling around with Jeffrey Epstein, flying on his plane all the time, not literally in your first job working for your dad, refusing to rent to black people, bragging about sexual assault, having multiple women come out and say, yes, he sexually assaulted me. Like,
I mean, I feel the same. I am saying I don't want to marry Donald Trump. Not that.
But I do want to give him the rights to control my body.
That's an option.
What's the difference?
But I'm just saying I don't want to marry Donald Trump. But I would much rather be able to vote for a president whose character I admired. Who I didn't think cheated on his wife repeatedly, and especially after she just gave birth to their baby. But
I don't really have a choice, because fuck those people. Because I've spent the last 4 years of my life shitting all over the normal Republicans.
Even as I say that, I don't know what their deal is. I don't know what Bill and Hillary's weird marriage is about either.
Talk about who's running, dum-dum. That doesn't excuse who you are actively voting for. Joe Biden is a widow who has remained faithful to the woman he is married to now since he remarried after the death of his first wife. You know that. There's not even an implication of anything else.
All I know is, if I could have a strong leader who I respected and admired and who I could show off to my children, I would love it. I told the audience when I was in LA, I got to go see privately the movie Reagan, which is coming out in August. Run, don't walk to the nearest theater. It's so good.
Oh my God.
It was very...
especially the Iran-Contra part.
Very powerful. I was glued to my chair. It's, whatever you're thinking, it's too little. It's amazing. And... sure, they're not making a movie of all of Reagan's downsides, but they do hit a couple of them. They call a couple things to note.
To note? Oh, yeah? What would those be?
And you just leave having such deep respect for him and loving country and being a little...
Hey, dum-dum. I don't need to watch some sort of fabricated idea to be excited about what a good man Jimmy Carter is. But all this motherfucker does is sit next to a guy all day long who shits on Jimmy Carter, who's a better Christian than anyone they have ever fucking met.
A little fond for how we... he loved...
Jimmy... Okay. This I'm kind of you know what it's gonna happen, and then I'm gonna get all a little bit of real quick. Just in case. Fuck you, lady. Most of the people who watch my show, we don't have to reiterate the entire show, but Jimmy Carter, when he was an enlisted man, he climbed into a nuclear reactor. There he is. There's a young Jimmy Carter. Fuel rods at the research reactor experienced a partial meltdown after the power surge ruptured the reactor. In his 2015 autobiography, Full Life Reflections at 90, Carter described the incident as preparations for repairing the reactor. They built an exact replica of the reactor, true to the last detail except the nuclear material, on a nearby tennis court to practice and track their progress. Carter and his 22 other team members were separated into teams of 3 and lowered into the reactor for 90-second intervals to clean up the site. It was estimated that 1.5 minutes was the maximum time humans could be exposed to the levels of radiation present in the area. It was still too much, especially by today's standards. The future president had radioactive urine for months after the cleanup. He came up with this fucking plan to send in, they went in 90 seconds at a fucking pop. This is before he was fucking president. This is when he was serving in the fucking Navy. That's just a true fucking story. After he was president, he built fucking houses for the homeless, you dizzy bitch. God damn, I hate this woman. Like, you worked at fucking Fox. You were sexually harassed all the time. Roger Ailes, the guy who sexually harassed you, was a buddy of Donald Trump's, helped him get elected. They believe the same things. They are the same man. And the impact they would have on people is exactly the fucking same. You didn't know about that, Evelyn? Yeah, that's Jimmy Carter working on a dummy. He's in the main control of the USS K-1 in this one. He's in a ship. The exposure was especially dangerous for Carter, whose family medical history is full of cancer deaths. His father died of pancreatic cancer in 1953, which led Carter to leaving the Navy that year. Cancerous tumors were found on the former president's liver and brain in 2015 as he turned 91, but quick diagnosis and treatment led to a cancer-free bill of health a year later. His extensive knowledge of nuclear reactors and energy would come in handy when Carter became president in 1977, as other world leaders respected his knowledge on the subject. He was a good man, and he knew his shit. And Reagan manipulated the Iranian hostage deal behind the scenes so he could fucking get into office. Fuck Ronald Reagan. The dude had 2 recessions. Meanwhile, again, Jimmy Carter set up a system. This is like fucking landing on the moon shit, where they built a copy of the reactor and they went through teams. So they said, you got 90 seconds and we pull you out. Then you got 90 seconds, we pull you out. We got 90 seconds, you guys pull you out. They all went through it several times. Get the fuck out of here. That's how you know everything all 3 of these motherfuckers are saying is bullshit. Because if this really meant anything to them, they would be singing the praises of Jimmy Carter right fucking now. Right fucking now. It's atrocious. It's despicable.
His wife, I'm sure now there's going to be some stories about Reagan. So, this is what I wrestle with, Dave, because is it that Reagan was genuinely better husband to somebody like Nancy? And we like that, and genuinely better man who'd been raised right in a Christian family that taught.
No. Nancy was pregnant with Patty before they were married. That's why she was a preemie.
Taught him good ideals. Or is it that the press didn't pick apart his life the way they do to our modern day politicians? I don't know, Dave, what do you think?
I think it's probably both.
Stu, sorry, I keep getting you.
Yeah. No, I'll throw to Stu, but I would say it's both.
Yeah, no, I think with Reagan, honestly, I do think he was just a better person than a lot of
fuck you
these people today. I mean, I just have to say it. I think this is a guy who wound up writing an entire book of his love letters. He wrote a love letter every day to his wife. I mean, he was, I think, a really unique and special person.
What did he do that was so bad that was the only way he could buy himself some free time.
We're not always going to hit that standard. And I think people get a little sensitive when it comes to talking about the 2024 election. This is a separate point from the 2024 election. You look at the candidates we have. You mentioned the problems with Biden. Trump famously has had all sorts of these issues in
all sorts of these issues has he?
Relationships throughout the years. And don't even start looking at the RFK Jr. life, his womanizing that he's admitted to. I mean, he might have the worst record on this front out of all of the candidates. This might not be a 2024 election.
No. No. He was a philanderer. Clearly. Well, you know what? I think it's a tie because they both flew on Epstein's planes multiple times. I don't think there's once you fly more than 3 times on Epstein's plane, I think the needle is fucking pegged forever. You get one return flight, you flew someplace and you return back and you're like, I'm never flying with that motherfucker again. The next time you get on a plane with that asshole, you're done.
But it is a sane thing to think about that maybe in 2028, we can all look forward and maybe find someone who can do a good job on the border and isn't constantly cheating on their wives. That's not an insane standard. There are 330 million people in this country. We should be able to find a person who can check off those 2 boxes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Or a serial cheater in the case of at least Bill Clinton. You know, it's like, my God, we took a deep dive into his troubles. Who knows?
Get the fuck out of here. It's just so goddamn gross. And it's odd, but it's even worse because he's... Hold on, are they still in there? Yeah, I guess he's still not out of there. They're still in the courtroom. Oh, wait. Oh, it looks like they're gathering some people in there. Hold on. I think that's one of the Secret Service guys. There's his IFB. So he might be coming out. Oh, yeah, that was them. Yeah, left without... That's it. Okay. So, yeah, he just walked out without saying anything. Just like exciting. Just you could tell that's a man who feels like a winner. Didn't even come out into the petting zoo. You know what? He probably had to go someplace because he was so fucking cold. That's what it was. By the way, thanks for watching House Parks Mega Worldwide. I appreciate you guys very much. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I'll be on tomorrow morning. We've got Philip Ittner will be joining us in the 2nd hour, and I think, let's see. How's this bailout? That's nice. Should be movie that. Holy crap! Yeah. Where are we? Yeah. We'll see. Andre, I don't know who else we have on besides the Phil in the 2nd hour, but we'll let everybody know. Either way, I will see you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Take care of somebody else. Please subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. Share the show out. It really helps. And, of course, super chats and bits and all that kind of stuff are the way we stay afloat. Patreons are our long-term supporters, and I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. When my lights work. Blech.